AI isn't going to replace you, but if you don't go all in soon, someone using AI better than you probably will. So there is new data from Anthropic. So that's the company behind Claude. And it shows that it takes about 6 months to build a real working relationship with these tools. And the people who put in the time, they're getting significantly better results. So the good news is that this technology is still relatively new. The people in your niche who are out in front on this, they didn't start that long ago. But the bad news is that gap is getting bigger pretty fast. So in this video, I'm going to show you what the people who are using AI to grow their businesses are doing right now. And it's not better prompts. And by the way, I'm Laura, and this is the GenXpert Show, where we talk about practical and realistic ways that you can use AI to grow your business. This is the AI gap. This is a gap between the people who are taking a wait and see approach and the people who are learning and building with AI. So on the left-hand side, we have the doomers, like AI is going to be the end of us all, bring lawyers, guns, and money. We have the delayers, people who are like, "Ah, I'm sure, I know I should be using AI, but not right now. I don't have time." And then there are the dabblers. They're chatting with ChatGPT, like, what should I have for dinner? But on the other side of the gap, we have the learners. So people who decided to invest the time to figure it out. The leapers, these are the people who are experimenting and iterating. And then we have the leaders, and these are the ones who are out in the front waving their hands and saying, "Hey, everybody, follow me." So, in that report I mentioned, the Anthropic study, so they looked at how people all over the world use AI. And what they found is that the people who are actually able to cross the gap and get value from AI have been working with it for about 6 months longer than the people who are just using it casually. Now, when I say working on it, I'm not talking about chatting with it once a week, but actually working with it to integrate it. Those experienced users, they attempt harder tasks, they succeed more often, and they have bigger productivity boosts than the casual users. So that 6 months of immersing yourself, that's actually the time you need to build the intuition around using it and using it more as an extension of your thinking so you get those better results. And 6 months is really not that long. But what may not be obvious here is how this is going to compound over time. So, this gap between the casual users and the power users is just going to keep getting bigger. And so, for those of you who are those casual users, well, I'm probably not going to convince any of the doomsayers. But if you're a delayer or a dabbler, if you're someone who let a single session with ChatGPT's free version define your view of AI, let's talk about what you need to do to start that 6 month time right now. And it's not about learning to write prompts or subscribing to a bunch of tools. Instead, it's about asking two business questions. One, how is AI impacting my clients? And two, how can I use AI to get my clients better results faster? So let me tell you how I got to this. For years, I ran a brand strategy agency. And so when AI showed up, my first thought was, "Ooh, there go the jobs for the copywriters, right?" I jumped right to who AI was going to replace. But the more I used it, the more I started asking a different question. What are agency clients struggling with right now because of AI? And the answer was obvious. They're drowning in mediocre AI output, right? AI slop. It's all over the place now. So pre AI, agencies did the writing for the clients because that was the time suck. That was the thing the clients needed to offload. But post AI, the agency's job has fundamentally changed. Now their job is to create a differentiation strategy and then direct the AI to produce that at scale. So that's the reframe for all of us in the expertise business. Your know how is still needed, but you have to position it differently. And that means you're going to have to wade in far enough to see where the AI is creating new problems for your clients. So here's some examples. If you're a career coach, like there's a real need right now to teach people how to write resumes that get past the AI screeners. So that's a real benefit you can provide for your clients. You can charge a premium for it for sure, but you're going to have to dig in and figure out how that works. Let me give you one more. If you're an operations consultant, you can reframe around helping companies figure out which workflows they should automate and which ones that they should protect. But you're going to have to understand AI well enough to explain your decision making. Okay, so the way you start crossing the gap is by reframing what you do so you can fill the opportunities that AI is opening up. That's how you start the learning process. But the people who are building competitive advantage AI, that starts with asking how AI can help your clients get better results faster. So, anyone who's ever done coaching or consulting has a story like this, right? You give the client the process or the workbook or the exact plan, and you know it will work if they would just do it, and then they don't do it. So, one of the foundational things I do with a client when they come to me is we work on niche clarity. So, I had this tool where I would have clients think about like who are the people that I really like to work with, and then we would reverse engineer that into their ideal client profile. Well, the problem is you really need 5 to 7 good stories or data points before you can see a pattern. And so everyone would like be all gung ho on this project for like the first 2 clients, and then they'd peter out and they get tired and they just wouldn't do it. So when ChatGPT came out, I built a custom GPT and that was going to interview them instead, right? And I said, "Oh, you can even talk to this thing instead of typing." And again, most people tried hard for about 2 client descriptions and then they hit the button for just give me the answer. So for version 3, I actually vibe coded an app where all the client has to do is copy and paste a few links and give them some screenshots. Well, 95% of my clients now complete this. They give it 5 to 7 examples. And so the output is so much better because the AI has more raw material to work with. I have more raw material to work with, right? So the distance between having that valuable info in my clients' heads and them being able to act on it, me being able to help them act on it, went from like miles to 10 feet, right? AI collapsed the friction between my expertise and the results I can give my client. So, that is the second thing you can do to cross this gap. That's how you get to be a leaper, right? You see where you can insert AI in your own process to get rid of that execution friction or to speed things up. So the third thing, and I think this is what you need to do to move from being, a builder or a leaper to a leader, at least in your niche, is to get enough experience with AI to be able to give your clients some guidance on how it will impact them and how they can use it even if you're not in the picture. So a few months ago, a client came in and we were working on their niche. So we did their ideal client using the first tool and they looked at the results and it suddenly they realized they needed a full-on niche makeover. And the domino effects of that meant their services needed to be reworked and all their messaging needed to be reframed. And so they came back to me and they said, "I think I need the whole thing. I need the positioning, the messaging, and the website. Can you do that?" And so this became a full package client, not because I pitched them, not because they thought that's what they were going to buy when they started, but because the tool gave them clarity around what direction they needed to go. And I was already the person they trusted to help them get there. So when you build tools that help your audience solve a problem because you've baked your expertise in there, they learn that you are the person who can help them get results. And that's going to convert to higher revenues a whole lot faster than spending 30 minutes a day commenting on LinkedIn. My point here is that when you use AI in your own business, you start positioning yourself as a leader, not because you're some kind of AI expert, but because you've experienced the possibilities and seen the failures, right? It positions you as a strategic advisor, not just a time for money service provider, which bonus is a fundamentally different pricing conversation. So, look, today we have talked a lot about why and how to use AI, but we didn't talk about skills or tools. So, if you're on the casual user side of the gap and you want to start the clock on your 6 months right now, here are the 2 videos you need to watch next.